So this is the first time putting this up. Yes, super lightweight. That's the biggest factor in this. Is like 1.1 kilograms compared to the Bobcat, which I did have, which I loved as a tent, was amazing. But like it was 1.95 kilograms, so there's a pretty substantial weight saving. Hydrostatic head isn't as good as the Bobcat, but I tend not to want to go out whenever it's too wet. But design seems pretty solid. Looks like a replica of an MSR tent. The inner has room for me to sit up in. I can lie down in it easily, and I'm 6 foot, just short of 6 foot, and I can lie in it comfortably. There's enough room for my toes, and I like, because it's got the wee cross-section pole, it gives it a bit of width at the top, whereas with the Bobcat, everything was like angled away from the ridge pole. So that was another factor in this. Because there's a lot of mesh, it feels quite roomy inside. So far, my only little gripe with it, but again, this is only the first time I've set it up, is the air vent at the back, which is big enough, but it seems like, even with it's got like a fairly rigid pole, it seems to just fold in on itself. So, and I don't know if that's something to do with pitching, whether I'll be able to correct that or not, but we'll figure it out as I have little adventures with this tent. But yeah, I really like it. Love the colour of it as well. And Fjern, they're a sports pursuit company. So even the retail at £400 is probably inflated. But for £170 for this, I'm pretty happy with it. And Fjern, I have one of their jackets that I bought second hand, and actually is one of the best waterproof jackets I've ever owned, the Fjern Orkan. So that kind of lent me a bit more towards the brand in general, I suppose. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It's my integral part. Better watch my bag doesn't get nicked. This is the vent. That, yeah. So it's got a pole. It's in there, but it doesn't seem there's enough flex or give in it, and this is pulled out tight, but it just pops out even when it's velcroed in. It just doesn't seem to want to stay, and then it disfigures the material a fair bit. So I think it's probably something to do with me pitching it and figuring out the wee nicky things with it. But we'll see. But in general, brilliant. Really love it. I think it's basically a replica of like a MSR Hubba or something like that. There's plenty of pegs come with it. I always like the luminescent or orange reflective guy lines. These are the tensioners here, pretty standard really. But everything goes together pretty well, and there's a decent amount of guy points on it. You can tie back the front doors completely. But yep, all seems pretty well made, put together. I would say it's very similar material to the likes of my Lanshan that I had. The mesh door ties back here, but and then that's you can tie the door back, the outer door back. But yeah, I really like it. It's the first time I've had a tent with the wee junction poles in it, and I used to be untrusting of those, but they actually probably are stronger than the rest of it. But yeah, nice and spacey, loads of ventilation. So for me, this is pretty much a kind of trade-off between how light the Lanshan one is, which I loved. Then you needed a trekking pole with it. And I'm not actually a trekking pole person. I just never really got into using trekking poles, even though I still believe that I will try to get into them. So that was a bit of a faff, and it's quite fiddly as well to get a good pitch. You need to learn the knack of that. The other tent was the Bobcat. Absolutely loved it. The only thing with that was that at the beginning the pole was a wee bit too long, but I've shortened that and it's easy to do, and I've done a wee video about how to shorten the pole. I just wanted a tent that was like super lightweight. So, and this is like 1.1 kilograms. I think it weighs in at 1.15 or something. And compared to the 1.95 of the Bobcat, So this is even lighter than the Bobcat was when I was using it without the inner, and that was the one thing with the Bobcat that I liked, that you could take the inner out and just use the outer as a kind of like pre-made tarp tent, I suppose. And I used it probably more like that than I did with the inner in it. So yeah, like this just has a bit of the in-between, light as those kind of trekking pole tents, but it has a, you know, its own designated pole that you don't need to bring out as an extra. It's just all in that weight. And you're losing things like the Bobcat had a wee built-in ground sheet, and but other than that, like, it's got the space, the room, and the head height, the length. It's a wee bit more roomy than the Bobcat because it's not just coming off that one ridge pole and that blade style tent. So we'll see how we get on, but I don't think I've made a mistake yet.